Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, it's Friday, 7 o'clock in the evening here in Europe, 1 o'clock on the East Coast in the US, and 10 o'clock in the morning out in LA. And that means it's time for the weekend highlights, the Access Arts Live roundup of what's going on this weekend. I want to tell you right off the top of the show, I'm gonna give you my 3 top picks for this weekend, one for each day, one for Friday, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. But we will go over the assembly of a lot of what's going on because there's so much going on this weekend. However, before I go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video, and especially like the video while you're watching this live stream to attract other live stream watchers. So if you're watching on Facebook, like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. Thanks. Now, let's get to what we have for you this weekend. And before I say anything else, before I go into any other content, somebody has got to talk to ARD Classics about their scheduling and their programming because this is what they have programmed for tonight. They have 3 different concerts by 3 fine orchestras. The first of them, the Hamburg Phil, also known as Elbphilharmonie, Yo-Yo Ma, Kayhan, Clara, and Alan Gilbert conducting. Then also the Cologne Philharmonic with Christian Măcelaru conducting and Julia Fischer on the violin. And then also the Stuttgart Symphony with the Giedrė Šlekytė and Jean-Guihen Queyras, the cellist. I mean, all 3 of them are at 8 o'clock. How can you do this? ARD Classic. You need to be working with these orchestras either to stagger their hours or to do them on different evenings. But to put 3 live streams up at the same time, ARD Classics, this just doesn't work. We can't watch all 3 at the same time. So I hope, now ARD Classics has been going about this business of consolidating the various German orchestras, which are already live streaming, and getting them to do them all with ARD Classic, which is a great idea. But if you're going to do that, then you need to start coordinating the programming so we can watch some of this stuff. Anyway, I told you in starting out that I was going to give you our 3 top picks for this weekend. And let me get our great graphic that we have for the whole weekend back up. And I want to tell you what the 3 of them are. The first of them are today, Friday, at 8 o'clock in the evening, and just about an hour from now, the Elbphilharmonie, that's the Hamburg Phil. They are celebrating 80 years of their existence. It's Alan Gilbert and Yo-Yo Ma and Kayhan Kalhor. And I'll tell you in a minute more of the details of what that concert is, because it's a terrific concert. So that's for tonight. Then for Saturday night, I will be recommending to you a lovely concert of 2 pieces by Bach being played on period instruments with a vocal group singing. And that will be Saturday at 7:30 in the evening, European time, 1:30 in the afternoon, your Saturday afternoon on the East Coast, 10:30 in the morning on the West Coast. And it's live streamed by Ars Sonora TV and coming out of Bydgoszcz, Poland. And this will be on period instruments. I think it'll be a really fine concert. It seems to me that the best quality you're going to find for that day. Then on Sunday, well, the Paris National Opera is live streaming their production of Offenbach's Les Brigands, the Brigands, at 2:30 in the afternoon, Paris time. That's 8:30 in the morning. I know it's early on the East Coast. 5:30 in the morning on the West Coast, and 10:30 in the evening down under in Australia. As far as I can tell, these are the three top picks to be looking at this weekend. So now let me tell you a little bit more about starting. Let me go over the orchestral works that we have coming up for you this weekend, and give you a little bit of background on them. I've already given a lot of background on most of these already in the orchestral roundup that I did on Monday, so this is just a refresher, except for the first one. The first one, this Elbphilharmonie, at 8 o'clock European time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast. They'll be doing the world premiere of Venus in the Mirror, which is a double concerto for kamanch and cello by the very much in demand Persian composer and kamanch player Kayhan Kalhor. Now, Kayhan Kalhor works all the time with Yo-Yo Ma, and he dedicated this piece to Yo-Yo Ma. And I think I have a picture of the three of them together. Yeah, and there is Kayhan Kalhor with that instrument, which is called a kamanch, which is played with a bow. And this piece was commissioned by the Morgenland Festival in Osnabrück, and also the University Musical Society in Ann Arbor, Michigan, home of the University of Michigan, where I spent some time as a student. Alan Gilbert is a superb conductor. In the second half of the program, they'll do Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique, Opus 14. That's just like a killer combination, and a rare opportunity to hear a superb musician playing the kamancha, which you may never have heard before, along with Yo-Yo Ma, who's world class, and Alan Gilbert, who's just a great conductor. So now, if you're watching that, though, here's what you're not going to be watching. You're not going to be watching the Stuttgart Symphony with Giedrė Šlekytė, the Lithuanian conductor, and the top cellist Jean-Guihen Queyras. And they'll be doing Dvorak's cello concerto in B minor, Opus 104, which is a lovely piece. That will be Queyras who's playing, and Queyras is a Pierre Boulez protege, become an associate of Pierre Boulez. So he's a top guy. And then they'll do Zemlinsky's The Little Mermaid. As for this Giedrė Šlekytė, the Lithuanian conductor, she's a freelancer, but she's worked with everybody. She's the list of symphonies she's worked with: Vienna, Munich, Lithuanian, the Frankfurt Radio Symphony, the Tokyo Yomiuri Nippon Orchestra, the Orchestra of Radio France, the Netherlands Film, the Swedish Radio Symphony Orchestra, and others. She really staked her claim to fame back in 2023 when she had to stand in for Daniel Barenboim at the last minute and conduct the Brahms Symphony Cycle in Toronto with the Staatskapelle Berlin. And she's also done a lot of opera conducting. I won't give you the list. So she's a top conductor, and that's a lovely program. But you won't be watching that if you're watching that concerto with the Hamburg Phil. And what you'll also won't be watching at the same time is the farewell concert of Christian Măcelaru with the Cologne Philharmonic, because he's leaving after 6 years of being the head guy there. He's heading to Cincinnati to be the head guy there, starting in the fall. The soloist is Julia Fischer. They'll be doing Brahms Concerto in D minor for violin and orchestra, Opus 77, and Julia Fischer. She's a virtuoso violinist. I recommend, if you're interested in the violin and violinist, go to her website. We'll try to give you the link. I don't know if there'll be room for it, but it's juliafischer.com, Fischer. And she has a JF club that you can join and get extra behind the scenes videos and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. And then in the second half of the program, they'll do Shostakovich's Symphony No. 10, and that's Măcelaru saying farewell. So these are three great concerts, and for reasons unknown to me, ARD Classic put them all on at the same time, probably because they were just already scheduled at the same time. But as there's more and more of this live streaming going on, the time is coming the content creators to start coordinating their timing so they're not stepping on each other's toes, and so that those of us in the viewing audience, so that we're not forced to make choices between 3 concerts like that. I mean, that's a really tough one. Anyway, and then later this evening, the OSESP, the Sao Paulo Philharmonic, under conductor Ruth Reinhardt, will be doing a program of music by Grazyna, Bacewicz, Clara Schumann's piano concerto in A minor, some Grieg, and some Martinue. Ruth Reinhardt is the new chief conductor at the Rhode Island Symphony, and she likes Bacewicz and some of the other 20th century composers and contemporary composers. So it's not a surprise to see that she starts out with a piece by Grazyna Bacewicz, and it's not a surprise to see that she's become such a hotshot conductor. Very much in demand in a lot of different places. I'm not going to give you all the list. I can't do that in the highlights thing today. But she's a former Dudamel fellow, as are so many up and coming, really impressive conductors today. I haven't heard her conduct, but all these things speak in her favor. And the soloist on the Clara Schumann is a rising star Brazilian pianist who studied in Russia at the Moscow Conservatory, Estevan Yachakiv. So that's what you have for you Saturday in terms of symphonic works. I mean, today on Symphonic Works Friday, and then we get to Saturday. And Saturday, there are several concerts going on, which are not free of charge. Everything I've told you about so far is free of charge. There's a concert that Stage Plus is live streaming, which was from the Hong Kong Philharmonic, Saturday afternoon, and it was supposed to include the Hewson brothers playing Saint-Saëns, and that has now been snipped out, probably for copyright reasons. So it's just this young conductor, Parma Peltokovsky, a Finnish conductor, conducting the Hong Kong Phil, playing Wagner. And that cost €9.90. And that's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, European time, because it's coming from Hong Kong. And then at 7 in the evening, there's what looks like a really nice concert by the Berlin Philharmonic with Gustavo Dudamel from the LA Phil, who is taking over the New York Phil next year, conducting the Berlin Phil at their annual open air gala at Val de Bühne. And they'll be doing things like part of the concert will be the first set from Aaron Copland's Old American Songs, sung by baritone Ryan Speedo Greenbass. They'll be doing Duke Ellington's Three Black Kings, Martin Luther King, as arranged by Luther Henderson and Terence Blanchard. They'll be doing symphonic dances from West Side Story, etc. All crowd pleasers, you see. And Gustavo Dudamel is a top conductor. But that will cost you €9.90. Other than that, on this weekend, there are 2 other concerts. The National Orchestra Institute Philharmonic will be playing music by Kwong and Strauss. That's a young people's orchestra. They're being conducted by Dansmeyer, who's the Oregon Symphony Orchestra chief conductor. And then that's Sunday at 6 in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time. And then also on Sunday, the Scottsdale Philharmonic, under the baton of conductor Vanya Jumar-Nikolovsky, the Macedonian who started out his career back in the mid-90s and then kind of dropped off the scope, was just piano teaching for 20 years, and then and now has reappeared as the chief conductor of Scottsdale Philharmonic. They're doing a very patriotic thing like marches by Sousa and God Bless America and some music by Sondheim. So That's what you have in terms of orchestral music. But really, the top orchestral piece that I can think of is that first one I told you about, Alan Gilbert conducting Kayhan, Kalhor, and Yo-Yo Ma in a cello and Comanche concerto, which Kalhor composed for Yo-Yo Ma. It's kind of hard to do better than that. But you can't go wrong with the other two that are on at the same time. Now, then we can move on to the chamber music that's going on this weekend. What do we have in terms of chamber music? Well, the Roulette Intermedium Theater in New York has two live streams that they're doing this weekend. There's one tonight, Friday, June 27th at 8 o'clock in the evening. We already put out a separate notice about that one. The Fuse Ensemble is an electroacoustic group. They'll be performing a piece called Speech and Silence, which will have alternating pieces of music and film, short films. And they'll be joined by Pamela Z because one of the pieces that they'll be performed, the set musical pieces they'll be performing is Pamela Z's Ways of Looking. This is all very avant-garde, very now music, but Pamela Z's Ways of Looking was commissioned by the Los Angeles Philharmonic Association. So if they think it's classical, then who am I to disagree? And then on Saturday night, at the same time, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 o'clock in the morning here in Europe, 10 o'clock the next morning in Australia, Roulette is live streaming Aaron Dyer's a drone choir, which is performing her piece called Moat. Now, this is an immersive choir performance. 21 vocalists from diverse backgrounds come together to perform an unrehearsed a cappella piece, and they will receive musical cues and movement cues over earphones, telling them where to move to and who to be near to while they're going through it to create an immersive experience for the audience. That's very now. What can I say? It doesn't get more now than that. But what I think is the most interesting live stream in terms of chamber music this weekend is Saturday, June 28th, 7:30 in the evening, European time, 1:30 on the East Coast in the afternoon, 10:30 in the morning on the West Coast. Our Sonara TV is live streaming a concert by the Andrzej Schwalbe Musica Antiqua Orchestra in Bydgoszcz, Poland. And they'll be doing two pieces by Bach, Bach's Suite in D major, BWV 1068, and his Magnificat in D major, BWV 243. And it just happens, speaking of BWV, the author of the BWV catalog, Wolfgang Schmieder, was born in Bydgoszcz, Poland. How about that? Anyway, this is an orchestra mostly composed of graduates, lecturers, and students from the Bydgoszcz Academy of Music. They play on period instruments. And they'll have two sopranos, a countertenor, a tenor, and a bass as soloists, but also a group called the Exploratory Ensemble, which will be serving as a choir. And I just think there's no way this will not be a high quality early music presentation, and you don't get that many of them. In fact, that is the one for this weekend. So I commend it to those of you who are early music enthusiasts. Now, other than that, let me put the big picture back up. Kind of left those guys on the whole time. Other than that, this weekend, what is left beside that are a couple other things. Hold on, let me get the picture. We have organ recitals this weekend. We have 3 of them. The first one is Friday, June 27th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast, 4 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 o'clock in the evening in Europe. That's Canon Martin Green in the weekly St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral of San Diego organ recital. He's very articulate. He makes excellent selections. He plays very well. It's a lovely organ with close to 5,000 pipes to it. It's a Quimby organ now, which has replaced an Aeolian Skinner organ. but we never know what he's going to play in advance. Then on Sunday, at the usual 5 o'clock in the afternoon time in Paris, which is 11 in the morning on the East Coast, 8 in the morning on the West Coast, Baptiste Florian Marouvrard, the resident organist at St. Eustache Church, will be playing Julius Rubke's Sonata on Psalm 94. I did a whole long disquisition about Julius Rubke in the organ recital roundup earlier this week, which you can look up if you're curious about it. It comes at the end of that roundup. He only lived to be 24 years old. He wrote two major pieces, one of which is the Sonata on Psalm 94. So this is a chance to hear what's considered one of the masterpieces of the Romantic era for organ compositions, but it's very stiff stuff. Psalm 94, if I give you an idea of what it's about, here's how parts of it read. The Lord is a God who avenges. O God who avenges, shine forth. Rise up, judge of the earth. Pay back to the proud what they desire. How long, Lord, how long will the wicked be jubilant? But the Lord has become my fortress and my rock in whom I take refuge. He will repay them for their sins and destroy them for their wickedness. The Lord our God will destroy them. So, and listen, the music is rugged stuff. So if you like rugged stuff on the organ, then this is one that you may want to enjoy. What I think, though, is the best of this weekend's organ recitals is Saturday, June 28th at 8 o'clock in the evening, European time, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, noon on the West Coast, at 9 o'clock in the evening in Moscow. Art Bene is live streaming a concert by Russian concert organist Ekaterina Gedzaleva and soprano Ksenia Odintsova. They're doing a concert of, there's some Bach, a couple of Bach preludes in there, just to have pure organ, Cherubini's Ave Maria, an arietta by Pergolesi, Vivaldi's, an aria from Vivaldi's opera Bajazet, Louis-Claude Daquin's Noel 6, César Franck Chorale number 2 in B minor. So it's it visits authors from all over Europe, and I think that's really the best of what you're going to get in terms of organ recitals this weekend. And then aside from that, there are two musical pieces this weekend, which can interest you in terms of musical theater and opera. First of all, Constellation Chicago on Saturday night is live streaming what looks to be like it could be a lot of fun. It's a new song cycle by Michael R. Oldham called Common Romance. And Common Romance is a series of vignettes about falling in love and falling out of love, and et cetera, and trying to answer the question, is it worth it to do any of this at all? Michael Oldham is a composer and conductor in residence with the Second City Comedy Troupe, and particularly with their national touring group. So he's a funny guy, and I'm sure this is a comic song cycle. So it could be a lot of fun. That's at 8:30 in the evening, Chicago time, Saturday evening, June 28th, 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast, 3:30 in the morning here in Europe, 11:30 Sunday morning down under in Australia if you want to have a good laugh. Now, but the big deal on Sunday is the Paris National Opera is back, and they'll be live streaming their production of Offenbach's Les Brigands, The Brigands. This is Sunday, June 29th at 2:30 in the afternoon European time, 8:30 in the morning on the East Coast, and unwatchable 5:30 in the morning on the West Coast, but 10:30 in the evening down under in Australia if we have any Australian followers. This will not be free of charge. It'll cost you €14.90. It's the Paris National Opera, and they're terrific. I mean, they're absolutely terrific. If you watch nothing else this weekend, and if ordinarily you don't want to pay money to see something, nonetheless, this is a production. I will do tomorrow, I promise. I will put together a more detailed description of that opera in which I will give you the background on the 3 or 4 main singers in it. So you'll have some real background to help you decide whether or not you want to spring for €14.90, which is about $16 US. Now, folks, that's what we have for you this weekend. Those are the highlights. I will remind you before leaving of our 3 top picks. Friday, June 20th, that's 8 o'clock in the evening, and about a half an hour from now, European time, the Hamburg Phil. Celebrating 80 years with Alan Gilbert, Yo-Yo Ma, and Kayhan Kalhor playing a piece for Comanche and cello, which Kalhor composed for Yo-Yo Ma to play. Wow. And then on Saturday evening, our Sonora TV live streaming this lovely concert of Bach, 2 pieces by Bach on period instruments with a chorale in Big Doz, Poland. And it's got to be, their major event of the year. So, they're going to be putting out their absolute best. And then thirdly, the Paris National Opera on Sunday. I hope that one, more, some, or any of these live streams uplift you, inspire you, or just show you a real good time. And I'll ask you again in closing, if you watch this on Facebook, please like the video. If you watch this on our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn, wherever you may find us. And we will continue to provide you with more than 1,000 live links to live performances online in the coming year. That's it for today, folks. Have a great weekend and enjoy some of this great music, most of which comes to you absolutely free of charge. Ciao for now.